But what it would have been the worst trade of your life because Amazon went on to 50x over the next 10 years. You should have just held every single share you could have got your hands on. And it's the same.
Buy yourself a shiny car.
Man, you could have freaking bought a car brand probably if you were early.
Or you can go and buy 2 Starbucks.
I took that personally.
Okay, so here we are, episode 19. Mrs. No Show, nowhere to be seen. Mr. All In, here, present. Dr. 10%, and myself, Sir Never Look, the world's most bullish podcast. Here it is, back in full effect. And as always, another busy week in the Bitcoin world as well.
Have you looked at the price this week, Sir Never Look?
I actually haven't, no. Why would I? I've heard reports that it's above 50,000, I will say, but I don't directly look to say.
Unfortunately, it isn't. But yeah, at least you know the 50K number because we were about, I think like this time last week, we were 10K below that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we had a big week. We went up the 10K and I think we've come back about 2. I think we're around 48K at the moment. But,
okay.
But that's natural, isn't it? Because it's like 50K, it's weird. Like humans are weird with these round numbers. So
yeah,
hovered below 50K for ages, and then we got above it. Then suddenly, like no one wants to buy Bitcoin when it starts with a 5. You feel like you're buying the top. So buyers get hesitant, sellers start to get a bit of momentum, and then before you know it, bang, we're at 48K. And but it just takes a little bit of time for people to get accustomed to 50K Bitcoin is actually cheap, and we're not quite there. So you just have to. I've seen it so often. Every time you breach through another thing, but 50K is a big one. 100K will be a big one. 10K was a big one. It's just all these nice round numbers. Humans just put a lot of value on it.
I think the 50K is just going to disappear. Like I think everything's aligning for that. Being bullish as usual.
Do you think it disappears for forever?
Ooh, that's a big call. I think we won't go. I'm trying to think what I reckon the bottom will be. So I think we're going to hit some record numbers soon, and that's purely based upon the fact that the mass inflation mixed in with El Salvador and also some of South America. Yeah. I think it's becoming a lot more mainstream. It's not as piratey anymore.
Yeah,
I think people are starting to appreciate everyone's taking note of inflation or shrinkflation, whatever you want to call it. And I think we're just going to see. I don't know if we'll see 6 figures, but we're going to see some very, very scary numbers where you'll be thinking, oh, should I sell? When you think, no, what else am I going to buy?
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah. I think that these are the power months now. Every 4 years, we have a nice warm up. We do like a 10x to warm up, and then the final couple of months we do a freaking 20 or 30x. It goes crazy. So this, just as people think it's boring, just as it like you settle out and everyone starts to think, oh, this is top. It's like no. Retail and FOMO aren't in yet. Like, have you heard your gran or like your uncle talk about Bitcoin at the barbecue? No, we're not there. Like when they're buying, that's
we had the retail, didn't we, earlier in the year? We had that kind of like top because my father-in-law was like, oh, can you get me some Bitcoin? I signed up to Coinbase, couldn't get on. And then I think it was one of our former workers contacted you for saying, oh, I should have bought. And you're like, buy anyway. And it's just going to be proven right. But you should have bought, like I've been telling my friends in one of my groups to buy, was it between about 14K right up to 40 something K? This is sterling. And we're like, no, see, it's topped, it's going down. I'm like, it'll be back up. Just wait. And we're like, when's it going to happen? I'm like, just wait. It doesn't mean it's going to happen within a week. You know, it could even be a year. It could be 2, 3. It's going to happen.
Do you think the highs will be as big as the lows, though? Because, of course, everybody's got their moon. So if things do go parabolic, there's going to be some sellers in there, naturally, who can't wait for the 5x, the 10x and above. And so when they sell, where do we go then?
Yeah, that's the big question. Because I still think we're in cycles. So I think we will go to hundreds of thousands this cycle, and then I think we'll regress back 80%. But whether it does or not is unknown. Some people think, no, we're in a cycle now where no matter how high we go, people are just going to keep buying because the amount of money that is coming in, and it's kind of coming from corporates and like billionaires, they're just going to keep eating it up. Every time there's a 20 or 30% dip, they're just going to keep stacking and keep buying the dip and essentially removing 80% dips and never happen again. I'm not sure that's the case.
I think 80%, so say if we went to 100K, we're back down to 20. Do you think it would be that severe, or do you think we'll bottom out?
No, we won't do 80 if we only go up to 100. So, because 20K is way too low. We won't go anywhere near 20K ever again. So I think the bottom in reality is 35 to 40K in dollars. We'll never go below that. Once we get above 100K anyway. Once we get above 100K, that's where we rock it. I think we go straight to 300. Then we do 80% drawback from there. So an 80% drawback from 300 takes us back to 60.
Yeah. So I have to use a converter because I'm just finding out what 40,000 is. So 29,000, so roughly 30K sterling for me, who can't cope with American numbers. Yeah. So I was thinking, I was being a bit more bullish on that. I was thinking maybe we'll see a drop down to 35, but that is complete and utter guesswork. There's nothing back in what I'm saying. I just think that we're hitting things which have never been seen before. And if El Salvador settles, we see a good use case. And I'm hoping we can get more of South America and my favorite country, Pakistan.
Pakistan will eventually, I think they'll buy eventually.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, we can see the online metrics are backing this up. So 70% of the supply that is currently out there has been held for over a year. That gives really strong hands. So there's only at the moment just 30% of weak hands in there that potentially could sell. So it means that we can only regress so far. When you 70% are just rock solid, and they think
within a year though, that's
crazy.
That's Sir Never Look. That's Dr. 10%. We're all within the last year.
Yeah.
So you think we're two use cases, but probably a bit extreme use cases.
But I think there's a lot of people like you that are coming in with someone like me that's probably like supporting you. So you're getting fast tracked. And because the thing is, like in the traditional world, if you'd have come in on your own in the first year, the year we've gone through, you would have definitely tried to trade it. Like when you first got in.
Don't put words in my mouth.
It's just the thing is.
Me too. I never traded from 2017.
It's just
held.
Because like this is just like the default way that people come in with when they're new, because they either sell too early on the way up or they get scared and exit the market on the way down. And in the last year, we've had a 60% dip and a 1,000% increase. So I would challenge any noob who doesn't really know much about the market to come in with a sizable amount of money and either be doubled, tripled, quadrupled their money in a couple of months. Every financial advisor would have been telling you, sell. You've made 4x in 3 months, get out. Then you'd have lost a 6x that was coming. Then you have a 60% drawdown. Now you would shit yourself and exit on a 2x.
But we had this about Amazon. So I think this was a comment which I saw on Twitter. In the Amazon sell, would you have sold when it 4x? God no. Because there's a lot more to come. Amazon was, some people could see the scale which it was going to get to. I think that's with Bitcoin. From research, from understanding, looking at the past, those are kind of where my decisions are made from.
You're using the benefit of hindsight there, though, because
I think so as well. Because
with Amazon,
no one knew Amazon was going to do what it does. Now it's obvious, but if you go back 10 years, they were just a bookstore online. Like no one knew.
Yeah, I think that example, but I think in terms of Bitcoin, it is slightly different because, it is world changing.
Now, once you've done your education, all I'm talking about is the first year you get in. Yeah. So you tend to not be as well read. So if you're a first-time investor in Amazon, someone's just kind of told you Amazon's going to take over the world. You're like, okay, great. You buy some of it, then it doubles. You think, well, you've won. You exit and you walk away very happy, thinking, I'm a genius. I double my money in 3 months. And to be fair, that's a great return. But it would have been the worst trade of your life because Amazon went on to 50x over the next 10 years. You should have just held every single share you could have got your hands on. And it's the same.
Buy yourself a shiny car.
Man, you could have freaking bought a car brand probably if you were early.
or you can go and buy 2 Starbucks.
I took that personally.
Getting his response before we can even say it.
Yeah. Yeah. Mrs. No Show, sponsored by Starbucks.
Yeah, that's got
For me personally, I look at the examples of Amazon from hindsight, and then also the internet as well, and knowing that all of the same feelings, all of the same sentiments of it's early days. What is this? And people talking about that. What is that A with that thing around it? And www dot, and it just feels exactly the same with Bitcoin. The fact that it's so difficult to move from an exchange onto your ledger and onto your wallet and everything else. So just think, yeah, this is it. And it's brand new as well. And as we know with everything else, it's digital, and everything has become digital, So I think I'm using that as my sign that we are at the early stages. And again, not just necessarily focusing on price.
It's not just about the early stages, it's about fiat as a whole. That's where I think I come from. And I think another aspect which you kind of overlook with your other favourite subjects is housing.
Yeah.
We've seen housing inflate, and that is just not normal. Especially when you look at the fact that wages haven't correlated with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw a great statement out there, the fact that Bitcoin is the only asset that's out there that they're not making more of. It's fixed.
Yeah.
Everything else is just going up. So yeah, houses are scarce, but we can make more of those.
Yeah.
3D print them.
Yeah. If anything, it's manipulated downwards. Like if you actually let the free market just build the houses that people wanted, that we would have double the amount of houses in the next 10 years. But the problem is the regulations and the planning permissions and all that stuff are so strict. They regulate that the supply to be artificially low. Because governments essentially control it, and then you go straight away, well, why would they do that? Why would they want an inflated housing market? It's like, well, because they have a shit ton of houses themselves. They all have property.
My friends do.
And the mortgage is obviously backed by the bank for the majority of people as well. And that's how they make their money, off the interest.
Yeah. That's like saying like, oh, we hold a load of Bitcoin, and like, would we advocate for just another 21 million Bitcoin to be printed? And that's essentially what we're saying to the housing market. It's like, there's this many houses, but we probably need double, because then we need to bring the prices down so first-time buyers can actually buy a house for like 30 grand. That's what they should be able to do. Now, like, no, why would we want that? Like, we don't want to bring house prices that low. Let's leave them at 250 for a first-time house, because why not? Like, I had to pay it, and now I live in £1 million mansion or £5 million mansion, and I've got a portfolio of 50 houses. I don't want the portfolio to halve. I don't want to have to find new assets now.
There's a house at the end of our street which has gone up for sale, and since we bought our house 5 years ago, I think it's just over 33% more.
Yeah, it's a joke.
That is, it's ridiculous. I'm not saying, oh, my house is worth X, because I'm not moving. If I sell, I have to buy another place for an equivalent value. So it's like, there's no benefit to me.
If anything, it's a negative, because if you were going to move, like, you would want to move to a better place. And the fact is, if that house prices around in your area going up 33%, all it means is your house is going up by 33%, but you're actually further behind the house that you wanted, because
exactly
the 33% is worth less on yours than it was the big one. So
because if you look at it, the stretch like 33% of say 100 grand versus 33% of 200 grand. And that's your simple one. But I'm never moving. Far too tight for that.
It's
Don't
interesting
as well.
Yeah, what's interesting as well, I was just looked out there. So you're absolutely right, Mr. All-In. The average house price as it stands is £256,000, but the average wage is £31,000. So, they just don't correlate. How is anybody supposed to, they normally do it off 3 times your wage?
4 times, I think it goes up to.
And even sometimes, 4 times.
And then during the big crisis back in 2000, was it 8? It was up to 6 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's also kind of making people have to couple up. And that's a whole different podcast right there. But ultimately, you can't, it's not set up for you to win by yourself.
I know it's nearly impossible, yeah. And because that's the thing, like wages go up with inflation, like the fake inflation, which is the 2 to 5% thing. But we know categorically that house prices have gone up about 10. So it just means every single year you're getting like around 7% further behind because they're not inflating wages to what they should. If they did inflate wages 10% as well, then it would actually counteract the fact that house prices are going up by 10% a year, but they don't.
But then that would counteract the fact that they're stealing off you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you're losing. And hence we kind of going back to Bitcoin.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Stop the inflation, stop the stealing.
Yeah, fix the money, fix the world.
Fix the money, fix the world. And that actually raises one of the points that that I brought into the agenda. And this is Cathie Wood versus Michael Burry. I'm surprised that we've got to our 19th episode and we've not even done a real deep dive on The Big Short. So for anybody that doesn't know who Michael Burry is, he's the guy and the star from The Big Short who essentially guessed the housing market and the housing crisis in 2008. So Michael Burry has said, well, he's tried to short not only the American dollar, okay, fair enough, but also ARK Investment. And ARK Investment, the CEO of that is Cathie Wood. Cathie Wood's a big investor in both Bitcoin and also Tesla as well. And other, I think she's big into AI as well, and other tech products and solutions. And her focus is essentially that, as we've spoken about before, tech will help deflation. And he's saying, well, no, it's going to inflate. And obviously the American dollar is continuing to do that. So we've got two gigantic.
But it's only 2% inflation.
Have you got your tin hat with you anywhere close?
I don't need to. I'm following what the government is saying. 2%. Even over last year, the pandemic year, 2%.
Yeah, exactly. No change there. But who's right? Who's wrong? Because Michael Burry guessed it right when it came to 2008 and no one wanted to listen.
But he guessed that year right, and then he was trying to short Tesla.
Correct.
But then Tesla is propped up by a lot of government funding, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It wouldn't be profitable without that. But fundamentally, most people never thought Elon was ever going to get to close to where he is. He literally is the number one car seller for family cars.
And it's an American brand, isn't it? So USA wants to keep it going.
Yeah. Well, in the family car market, that's a big market. He's number one. The Model 3 sells more cars in that category than anyone. And then he's obviously got the Cybertruck coming out, I think, next year, and he's going after the truck market, which is the next biggest market in America. So no one thought he was ever going to build a car that even would get off the production line. So yeah, Michael Burry has been fundamentally proven wrong there. He thought that share price was going to go to zero. Since he's been shorting it, I think it's 20x. So you can't get much wronger than that. That's a massive L. Like, not only did it not go down, he thought it was hugely overvalued a 20x ago, and it 20x. Like, he has lost so much money. He is totally wrecked on that trade.
I'm guessing all his money from the housing crisis propped him up.
Yeah, well, I think he's smart. I think he hedges his money. He doesn't go all in on stuff. He just puts money here, there, and everywhere. He on the housing market one, he did go all in, but that's because he was wrong for so long. He didn't want to be all in, because the housing market kept going up and up. It meant that his short, to cover the short, he had to keep putting more and more billions. I think he was working with like 5 billion or 4 billion. I think his original short was about 1 billion, but then he was wrong for so long. And that's why people just went crazy with him. Like, everyone thought he was mad, and he was wrong for about 8 or 9 months. And the housing market kept going up and up and up. And he nearly got liquidated. And then just before he did, bang, the housing market actually crashes.
He was working for a company, wasn't he?
It's his own investment hedge fund, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was other people's money. So that's why he could be like called to account, because people were going, "You're gambling my money. I want it back." And he literally just sent everyone an email going, "I'm taking your funds. we're not exiting this trade at a loss. Like, I am right. you've trusted me with your money. I am not removing the short. I will be right. And people were going crazy, trying to take him to court. And eventually, obviously, it paid off and he made them all a shit ton of money. But they still hated him after it all happened. They still took all their money out and went, "You are never doing that to me again." Like, that is fucking crazy.
How much did he make off that one? Sorry, or rather the company. So they had 5 billion in the end, but then what did that give
I think he doubled it. I think he made it to about 10. Because the problem is because the problem is with a short like that, you're literally shorting the economy. So once he wanted then to sell his shorts and like make profit, all the banks and financial institutions were skinned. So no one's got any money. So it was he should have made way more than that. But yeah, you have to just sell it at a profit. And yeah, I think he doubled his money or something. I can't remember. I think he had like 2 or 3 billion in, and then he made about 7, something like that.
Let's see what.
But now he's obviously been a big advocate for shorting Bitcoin as well.
Yeah.
And he actively did short Bitcoin at around 64K. And because the thing is, because he's part of a big company, he has to, like, about a quarter later, all his positions get released. So it was about a month or two ago that his trades for earlier in the year got released. And during Q1, he did short Bitcoin. So we don't know exactly where, but there was a top around that. So, and then the next quarter, we went from 64K back down to 30. So he could well have been absolutely spot on if he got into the short when he said he did and then got out. If he kept it in, then now he's pretty much lost to his profit. But he
could be looking at the cycles. You know,
Yeah.
he could be now watching it for his hit the peak and then throw another short in. So
Yeah,
if it's what happened before, it may be quite a logical move.
Well, this is the weird one about this one, because we know he's opened up the short on ARK Investment, and it's relatively recent, this one. So Bitcoin has only gone up since this. I think when he put that short in, ARK Investment and Tesla were both at kind of like local lows. So Bitcoin was around the 30K. We've also gone up to 50 now. So, and Bitcoin makes up 10% of ARK Investment. That's the max any asset is allowed to take.
Yeah.
It's part of a hedge fund. You can't have more than 10% exposure in any asset. I think Bitcoin is 10%, Tesla's 10%, and then they've got a couple of hundred other companies in various sectors that make up the other 80. So far, I would imagine over this last quarter, since that trade has been opened, he's pretty down, because Tesla's only gone up since then, and so is Bitcoin. It's nearly doubled in price. So far, he's pretty wrecked on that trade.
Just reading, Michael Burry actually made 100 million for himself from the Big Short, and I think the team made 1 billion, and somebody else made 700 million. So that was a lot of money back then, of course.
That's actually a surprisingly low amount for himself out of all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, he's running a hedge fund, so he's actually gambling other people's money.
Didn't he work for a company? So it wasn't his company, was it? It wasn't his hedge fund. He worked for a company.
He was, well, I think it was his.
The film didn't depict that.
He did.
He reports in some grey-haired guy.
They were the investors. They were the people's money who were investing with him, and they were trying to get their money back. And he was telling them, "Fuck off."
Yeah.
Because
anyway, we seem to have stalled a bit on this one. So, anything else which you want to say about Michael Burry?
I just think it's one of those things that we just have to wait and see and watch who is right, essentially, because you've got two superpowers essentially.
We know who's right.
Yeah, we know who's right. We know that Kathy is right, but Michael Burry has put a lot of money behind this to try and be right. Now, if he's happy to lose it all, I mean, I'll take just 1% of his short and walk away if he wants that. But let's see how this one pans out. And again, the fact that we've got it recorded, it's digital, episode 19, we can come back and say, record it, Kathy Wood, ARK Investment, you got the W.
Yeah, because it's weird. I think what Michael is gambling on here is the economy collapsing, and he thinks it takes everything with it. So if the economy does collapse, which I fundamentally agree is right, we are in a huge bubble and the US dollar will collapse. If that does go pop, the shares in Tesla will also pop. Yeah, they will. If the entire market goes down 80%, Tesla won't just be sat there. Like, it will clearly get dragged down with everything else. The thing he's wrong about is there's a solution this time. We see the same thing that he sees with the housing market back in 2008. Obviously, he was on his own then. This time, I think we're all primed for it. We all know it is happening. We know the housing market is hugely inflated and propped up by fake money. We know the fake money is going to get found out and it's all going to go pop. But the solution, the life raft away, is Bitcoin. And he doesn't get the life raft. He doesn't get it. And he's also shorting that, just thinking that's all part of the fiat bubble. The only reason why this magic internet money has gone up so big is because there's so much fiat knocking around. There's a load of young millennials with nothing else better to do with their money, and they're just pumping it into this shit internet money. He's wrong. Like, Bitcoin isn't pumping because of fiat, like directly because it's like an inflated bubble. It's pumping because fiat is broken, and we are actively taking that money and taking it. And we're not going to sell it when the market crashes. That's the difference. I will be selling any shares I have, like for Amazon or that type of stuff. Like, I will, if I even get a sniff of like the entire market drawing back 20%, I'm exiting all positions. It could well just keep going down. And I'll just put the last of the bit of money I have on the side just into sats, because that'll be the safest place for them when everything's being set on fire. And I don't want my stockbroker's account frozen for 4 years whilst they figure out what the fuck they're going to do with it when they've all gone bust.
Correct. Because that's what exactly will happen as well. It'll be let's just fix this. You wait there, which we know is really code for we'll get our money first. And then we'll come to you, pleb number one. Next.
I think at the very minimum, it is making sure you hedge against this.
Yeah.
So, you can keep your positions in stocks and shares, but ensure that you buy something else which will provide a hedge. Bitcoin. I suppose worst case would be gold, though the performance hasn't been great, but at least it will hold some value against fiat.
Yeah. And the only thing I'd add to that, if you're going to do that, buy physical gold. Have it in your possession.
Oh, yeah.
If you buy paper gold on a stock exchange, bollocks.
Yeah.
Still haven't done it. Still going to get your account frozen. Go and buy a gold bar, and guess what? A gold bar's fucking expensive, like 10 or 20K, something like that.
Yeah.
But then you got to make sure it's real. Don't get scammed. Loads of fake gold out there.
And you're going to have to go to safe. You're going to have to figure out where to hide it in your house. It's not going to be easy to hide.
Well, you could just go on exchange and buy Bitcoin. Nice and fucking easy.
Yeah, get yourself prison safe and no one's going in there.
Not unless you're actually in prison. Then everybody's going in there. Maybe like a fucking bypass.
That's us deplatformed for this week.
The inclusive message by Mr. All In.
Yeah. Was that apparent? Was that on purpose? The inclusive message of Bitcoin / BTC.
Oh yeah, of course it was. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. My agenda doesn't want to come through for some reason. I don't know if it.
So I think the next one was the missing crypto queen. So this relates back to OneCoin. I'm not entirely sure what year it was. I remember hearing about it at the time. Was it about 2017 when the boom was going on?
2016, 2017, she disappeared. Yeah,
where they came up with this concept of OneCoin, which was meant to entice all the plebs in who had missed the boat on Bitcoin. They haven't missed the boat on Bitcoin, and you still haven't missed the boat on Bitcoin. But they believe they had, and they believe that they can make monstrous gains through investing in something called OneCoin. So Gaz sent around a link, which was, I'm not entirely sure what the name of the researcher was, but he'd been looking into the different methods which they've been using, which I thought was, I hadn't heard that, the fact that it was based upon multi-level marketing, basically Ponzi schemes. So it was paying Peter with Paul's money. So I think but I was watching just going, isn't this just like quite a lot of the shit coins now?
Yeah.
I just kind of thought that there seems to be not a lot of difference, but people are still buying these things.
Yeah. The fact with these shit coins is that they didn't, or they don't have a face for them. And they, that was bold. She was meeting these people, having big seminars, coming out, looking the part, speaking, lots of various different languages, and saying that this is going to revolutionize the world. You're part of a family, part of a community, and really it was all just a hoax.
Yeah, in reality, it wasn't really even a shitcoin. It was just an out and out Ponzi scheme, because there wasn't, they had a website that you could deposit, but I remember them going, oh, is there a blockchain, or could you trade this asset anywhere? And you couldn't. Like, the price of the asset, she had an admin page that she logged in and just kept increasing the price just by editing it in like a CMS. It wasn't even like, so the price could never go down. She just kept logging in every day and going, oh, it's £2.20. I log in today, £2.50. And I log in tomorrow, £2.80. Log in the next day, £3. Like, she just kept going. So everyone that was investing their money thought, this is genius. This is the only coin in the world that only goes up. But you go, oh, can I sell? And there was always be a reason. No, you got to lock it up for 2 years, or you got to bring in another 10 people. Why would you sell now? The price is going up. They would always find a reason to basically just talk you around into never exiting.
Buying these packages, right?
Yeah. And so she literally just edited the price all the way up, and then just took the money. And then, but bizarrely, like, obviously the price never went down because the price is edited in the platform, right? So you just go, oh, but can I exit now? I 100% when I exit. I invested like 30 grand in this thing. I've now got like $500,000. I want my $500,000. No, because you don't have $500,000. She's stolen your 30 grand. It's gone. And bizarrely, but what she was very clever with the people she targeted as well, because all the Bitcoiners never heard of any of this, because obviously it wasn't registered on any exchange. It was impossible to trade it. She went after low income type people that were looking for investments. So they were relatively uneducated, just went in saying, you've heard of this Bitcoin thing, this is the new one. So a lot of the people she got and only scammed, none of them were on Twitter. And obviously it wasn't an asset that was registered on any exchange. So we didn't even know this thing existed until she just disappeared. And then every authority in the world suddenly wants her because I think she stole 4 billion. It was a crazy amount of money. Insane amount of money. It's the biggest kind of heist ever. And she's been gone for 4 years, and she keeps getting cited here or there, but she's got so much money that she can just keep people quiet. So they still haven't found it. I think she threw her own brother under the bus. Her brother is in custody, and he's just gone, yeah, she was the mastermind. She did everything. She got all the money, and she could come out of the shadows and go, look, I'll take the rap for this. My brother was just my assistant, but he's in prison, and she's just living the life of luxury somewhere.
Do you reckon it could have been like severe plastic surgery, God knows what else? Because, it'd be change your hair color, gain a load of weight or lose a lot of weight. I don't know what she looked like. Because I think I've seen a documentary about it, but it's some time ago.
Yeah, she's like slightly like half white, half Indian, I would say, black hair.
Yeah,
but yeah, she could easily have just so she was very Indian looking actually. So that's probably actually to her advantage, because then you could just go, right, make me not look Indian. And she had very black hair, make it blonde. If you just do a bit of plastic surgery, you have blonde hair, it's a different person.
Yeah.
And when you're that rich, you could probably get it lined up right at that point when you're going to exit, get it done, pull the money, disappear, and it's done.
Yeah. And she did do it overnight as well, because there's a number of people running this for her, and a lot of the people knew that it looked a little bit dodgy, but didn't know to what extent it was a complete scam. Because again, any good kind of genius scammer at the top of something like this pretends everything's in order to the people that are close and go, don't worry, I've got it, I know this. And they were always worried about, where are these developers? I've never seen them. And she claimed there's a load of blockchain developers that she was working with. She wasn't. So then literally she disappeared one day, and I think it was a lawyer or an accountant. I think they were on the way to meet her in a meeting, and half an hour before she said she was going to turn up. She just never she said she was going to be there. They spoke to her, they went to the meeting. She just never showed up, and they never saw her again. And she never answered the phone. It was that, she just decided. And she obviously had her exit plan
from the outset, I think, ultimately. And yeah, the search continues because right now, some people say that she could have been kidnapped, perhaps.
Yeah,
who knows?
possible. Someone with 4 billion, yeah. She could have well and truly might have trusted the wrong person to hide her, and then they just flip it because suddenly, obviously, if she's trusted some people to hide her, and then they know full well she can't just go out because she's going to get arrested, then yeah, and she's got 4 billion. Once all this news comes out, she may have gone, oh yeah, help me, I'll pay you a couple of million to help me, and then they've suddenly realized, hold on, you've got 4 billion, like I want $1 billion to hide you now, and she's gone no, and yeah, it could have turned nasty on. She might be dead. They might have killed her, and that's the perfect way to kind of exit scam this, right? If you helped her escape, you now kill her because she's the missing link. She's who everyone's looking for. You kill her, throw her in the sea, and then take her 4 billion. And now you're just a load of guys or girls, whoever you are, that no one's looking for.
And put it into Bitcoin.
Well, this is where I was going to go as well. So that was 4 billion back in 2019.
Yeah.
So, just put a little bit of that into Bitcoin, and right now,
at the 3K.
Yeah.
I think once you get into billions, you're not too worried about inflation. Then I think you're just buying boats and multiple houses. I think you're good, but
yeah,
Bitcoin would have been a good investment if she'd have got in it.
I don't think that we saw any spikes around that time, especially. Yeah, I think looking along the charts.
I think this just kind of goes back to verification. So I don't know all the minor details with OneCoin, but you think like Bitcoin, the code is available. Anyone can go into it. Not that I've tried myself because I wouldn't have a clue what I was looking at. I mean, I suppose they claimed a number of things, but it wasn't actually backed up by anyone. It's just some woman who's quite articulate, good at selling things, and basically brought a load of people in. No one really had seen the product. I think that's quite important when you look at some of these shit coins, because they're saying we are decentralized, we work on a blockchain, but you can't see their code, can you? So when the rug's pulled,
well, some of them you can. You can see the code. A lot of them do out open source it. Well, obviously with this one, she went after non-technical crowd. A lot of the shit coins are scamming technical people, but so you can look at the code, but the code can change tomorrow. So because it's not decentralized, there's 2 developers that look after it. So if they want to just change transactions or increase the supply, they can. And so seeing because a lot of them cheat, they just fork Bitcoin and then go, there you go, there's the code, and we just edited the supply and added this little thing on, so it's got cats in it instead of Bitcoin or whatever. And you go, oh right, yeah, the code's really solid, it's Bitcoin. But you just go, yeah, but there's no miners securing this network. There's just you two. So if you want to go in and just change stuff, you can. That's fundamentally the problem. But on this one, this would never have survived Bitcoin Twitter for like 2 seconds, OneCoin, because they've just gone, show me the code, and then they've gone, oh, there is no code, it's just on this website. And you go, that's just a website with freaking, it's just an admin system like CMS.
Well, I'm sure once the code wasn't forthcoming, someone probably would have hacked the website.
Yeah, and realized that the source of the field that says price is just one field in her CMS, which she types in each day. It's like not even linked into a market. It's like, because there's no buying or selling. Because straight away you go, right, we have a price on this thing. What is determining the price? Because this coin is not traded anywhere. So how do we know the price is going up? All you'd have to do is ask that question, and she would not have been able to give you an answer. And you just go, the price is bollocks, isn't it? You're literally just typing in a number.
Yeah.
And you're done.
There was a guy that they were actually trying to get to be their CTO, and he kind of hit the nail on the head. He was just like, okay, show me the blockchain for this. And it wasn't. And it was like about a week or so before they were due to launch. And essentially he refused to do it. And this is all documented because I was actually looking at, guess what, our own podcast on podcasts, and then came across the Crypto Queen. And in it, he's talking about it. And essentially he said, I don't want to talk about the people that were involved in this, because obviously to steal $4 billion worth of money, it's not just her. She, yes, is the face of it, but he said the people that were involved, he just didn't even want to talk about. So, yeah, I think there's more to it, of course.
Cool. Should we talk about companies putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet. There's been some big movement.
Yeah.
It seemed pretty insane, this one.
What was it? It's a biotech company converting their balance sheet to Bitcoin. And they've literally, this is great as well, because they actually stated the reason they're doing it. And it is to hedge inflation and to avoid the overreach of banks. And which is just great to see, because that is explicitly what we are doing here. This is why Bitcoin is legit and why fiat is bad, because you can not only can you hedge inflation, it actually becomes your money then. It's actually your money, and the banks can't just freeze it whenever they feel like it. And obviously, this company must have had problems in the past sending money to people, and banks suddenly want to know who you're sending it to or why you're sending that much. Now, when they hold their balance sheet in Bitcoin, they can. All you need is the wallet of someone else that you want to pay. Doesn't matter what country they're in. You can just send it. No bank can stop you. And yeah, so it's yet another company. I'm not sure how much they actually did. It says they turn over 15 million.
Yeah, I thought the amount which they put. Well, they said they put on quite a bit for their turnover. It seemed quite high. So I was, it got me kind of thinking, but it is quite cool that they've done it. Good reasons, but is it just to get attention?
Yeah, well, maybe it is. It's good marketing, but
definitely think it's going to be the future of many as well. Because once they see that it works, it's like, okay, why wouldn't we do it as well? Ultimately,
yeah. And you've got to remember as well, this could be negative attention. So yeah, it does potentially, like putting blockchain in your name is just purely positive because it's just all marketing bollocks. But when you actually convert cash into Bitcoin, you're going to get a little pump. Like Bitcoin is going to like it, and if you're listed on the stock exchange, maybe your share price takes a little pump. But you're also going to have regulators and the government looking over your shoulder as well, going, "Hold on, what are you doing with that money? Why are you trying to bypass the overreach of banks? Who are you paying? You paying Iran? Money going to Afghanistan? Like, where's this money going?" And then suddenly it brings negative attention on you as well. Yeah. And but yeah, I think this is going to be a trend. We've only probably got 3 or 4, 5 companies that have got Bitcoin on the balance sheet. This is probably the first one that was completely unknown and it's just a small biotech company, but obviously run by Bitcoiners. And yeah, they bought some Bitcoin. Hopefully this story kind of becomes irrelevant over time, because it's going to be another 400 just put Bitcoin on the balance sheet, and what? Like, everyone's hedging inflation and trying to get away from the banks. Yeah.
Who have we got? We've got Tesla. We've got MicroStrategy and Square. Any others which are men?
I think there's about 30 companies in total that have got Bitcoin on the balance sheet.
Yeah, because you've obviously got Coinbase now.
Yes.
Has Coinbase got Bitcoin on the balance sheet? I thought it said crypto. I thought I read somewhere, but it wasn't.
It does. Yeah, it does. Say
it was explicitly not Bitcoin from what I read.
Oh right. Yeah, maybe that's the case.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's a bit of an accounting headache. So it says.
Yeah, there's a list. I've forgotten what the website's called, but it's called a list of most of the companies that have. I think there's only about 4 or 5 that are non-Bitcoin companies. Obviously, there's another like 25 companies that are, because literally there's a Bitcoiner who runs a chain of restaurants in America. I think it's like a load of taco place. He holds all his balance sheet in Bitcoin, but his turnover is tiny. So there's probably about, I'd say, 50 companies that have Bitcoin on the balance sheet, and there's only 4 or 5 that turn over more than 10 million. So they're the ones we kind of look at.
But one makes tacos. How dare you put them down?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's fair play to him. And he's probably made more money in Bitcoin or just hedging inflation than he has tacos over the last 4 years. So.
Well, I could do
Comments
some tacos
below.
now.
Yeah, absolutely. Comments below in terms of how many companies that you know with Bitcoin on the balance sheet.
Yeah, so this kind of leads on to the Coinbase story. So Coinbase put crypto on their balance sheets. So I just loaded up the links, and it neglected putting in Bitcoin. So it just says crypto as a whole. So it could be Dogecoin, cum rockets, all these kind of shit coins.
Yeah.
Usually, like, it doesn't actually explicitly say in here they didn't put Bitcoin in, does it?
On the second link, it just say Coinbase builds 4 billion cash pile, neglects Bitcoin.
Oh, right. Yeah. As in specifically to put it all in that, I think. Yeah. Because the thing is, like, Coinbase used to have a little fund that they would have on their site. They closed it down in the end because no one used it. But essentially, it was buy into this crypto fund, and the denomination was, by and large, it was about 25% Bitcoin, or like 35% Bitcoin, like 25% Ethereum, some Litecoins, and then it had just another 30 shit coins that made up the balance. So I would imagine what they've done is an amalgamation of that. So I would be amazed because they put 500 million. Admittedly, they apparently have 4 billion on their balance sheet, which is a crazy amount of cash just to have sat there. They put 500 million into crypto. I would be amazed if at least 25% of that is not Bitcoin. I'd be amazed. I do think 75% would be shitcoins though.
They've got to publish it at some point, but I think, you know, because they are encouraging everyone to come to the exchange to trade everything. You know, it doesn't matter to them. So I imagine that they will have, reading it again, you will have a strong majority being Bitcoin, but they're going to have everything, you know, all the shitty things like, what was it, Stellar Lumens, Cardano, all these shit coins are going to be in there.
Oh yeah, because they in reality they have to, right? It's their business model. If they just put 500 million into Bitcoin, then all the people coming in will be like, hold on, how come you're telling us to gamble on shit coins, yet you're just putting all your money in Bitcoin? So it would actually be a good investment, like as that one-off thing, but they would probably lose billions in shitcoin trading. So they want the shitcoin trading. They don't make money. That's where they make the majority of their money. So
I enjoy a bit of shitcoins when I get them free. And then convert them.
Yeah. I still wonder where they get all this money from. Like, keep giving me $2 for all these new shit coins they list. It's like,
yeah, I did it this week, and I've got it even worse. I kind of load it up, and then I just press on the buttons, take the quiz straight away, press the buttons till I get it right. I'm not even reading anything anymore.
Oh, I'm skipping straight away. I'm skipping and guessing.
You ever read it? Yeah, I've always been.
I did it first because I thought it wouldn't give me a full amount, so I just read it, did it, and got my free money. But this time I'm just like, I don't even waste the 5 minutes anymore.
Yeah, you can do it in less than 10 seconds. The thing that takes the longest amount of time is just waiting for the shitcoin to hit your account. It looks like it's there. You try and convert it, and they're like, "Oh, you haven't got any." It's like, "Oh, okay, I'll leave it for 5 minutes," and then the coin actually shows up. Convert it straight into Bitcoin, and
yeah, I have got some shitcoins. I managed to not convert one of them a while back, so I think I've got some like 4 pence worth, and it won't let me convert.
Yeah, I've got
Bitcoin.
like 3 pence on my balance sheet of shitcoin still. That it's too small to actually convert, so I'll forever be associated with it.
There we go. I've got 3 pence of compound and £16 and 6 pence of Bitcoin on my Coinbase account. And that's obviously from all 3 coins. So, you know, so if anyone's listening, Coinbase, you get your 3 sats. If you don't do that, you're an idiot.
By the way, it's really annoying as well, because if you ever try and close your account, the account has to have a balance of 0. So if you have some random dust in a shitcoin, they'll be like, you can't close your account.
Well, I was contemplating buying more, and I just went, I'm not buying more just to convert into Bitcoin. So I just wanted to, you know, buy £1 or 2 or whatever it costs, and then convert it to Bitcoin, so I've got 0 on compounds. But I'm just like, I'm not doing that. I'm not encouraging my coin.
Yeah, because literally that is, if you ever want to close your account, you probably would have to do something like that. You'd have to buy £10 a compound just to then convert the £10 3 pence into Bitcoin, send the Bitcoin out just to get your account zeroed out. It would be.
But why would you want to close your account?
Yeah, who knows? Potentially Coinbase get taken over, they go bad, they delist Bitcoin or something. Who knows? It's just, I know people have tried to do it because Coinbase have been a bit shady over the years. They've done some bad actions. So some Bitcoiners have, like, out of protest, closed their account. And I've seen they've all hit this problem because they've all done like the earn program, or had like dust of a shitcoin that they used to trade back in the day. They had like 0.01 pence of it. And they've gone, yeah, we can't close the account. It's got a non-zero balance. So yeah, you have to end up buying the shitcoin just to sell it at an amount they will let you to trade, just to actually close your account, because it's
I guess similar to traditional banks. So I mean, we touched on it last week, but essentially you don't really move your bank, and you just kind of put up with it. But I think it'll be the fees. That's the reason why you might close the account with said exchange. The fees become too high. You can get as good off, if not a better service with a different exchange. And you say, do you know what? Rather than just leaving it open, I'm going to take all my dust, all my shit coins, and all my Bitcoin, and I'll go to another exchange.
My 3 pence a compound.
Yeah, exactly that. I think I've got the same as well, by the way.
There's not a comparison, on fees. I had a good Google round to find out fees, but there's just general, oh yeah, we think this one's the best. It's like, well, why? So it'd be interesting if that did exist somewhere, just to view what it was. I think at the moment, I don't know if I would move because I'm a bit too lazy on it. But I suppose it's whether it's a significant difference, because moving from Coinbase to Pro was a big difference, because I think I spent hundreds of pounds on fees, which I could have got away with, but I was too intimidated by Pro at first. And then when I used it first time, I went, oh, it's actually really straightforward. It just looks a bit complicated to put you off.
Yeah. I think Gemini is good, but I certainly see that the fees are higher on Gemini.
Yeah, the one that's going to come in and disrupt, it'll be Strike, it'll be Jack Mallers. So at the moment, he's bringing it to Europe at the moment, but it's not accessible. But he's got zero fees. He's already said, like, buying Bitcoin is just going to be, it's a commodity, it's a race to the bottom. So the fees started high and they're just getting lower and lower. And he's just gone, fuck it, I'm gonna get the price of exchanging fees down to zero. You're gonna have to add value over and above it. So at the moment, if you're an American, that is the place to buy Bitcoin, is on Strike. It's coming to Europe. And he's going to sell it for zero fees.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I see a reason then. I was just looking at Revolut because, obviously it's a convenience. So because we all use Vault, and so I just thought I'll check them out Vault, see how much in there, and it's surprising. It has shot up. So I suppose Sir Never Look. What times are you up to now?
You know what? I'm still on 2x, but my Vault, because I'm using the Revolut app, it's about, it's nothing crazy. Yeah, 166 quid.
But because you're only on a double up, you need to be on a 10x. That's why.
Yeah, I know.
That'd be 5 times higher just if you had a times 10.
Yeah.
I went for the times by 10. I think I started at times 2. When I put times 10, it's painful. My money always runs out of my account.
Yeah.
I'm just like, where's my money? When I look at my vault, I'm like, oh, there's my money, but I don't want it back.
Yeah, that's it. That's the problem. I don't want it back, and I know that I've kept this in there. It's gone up. These roundups, for anybody that doesn't understand the way that Revolut works, obviously, I think we've covered it before. But if it's your first time, you pay for something for just under £1, it'll round it up to £1 and take that little bit, automatically convert it into Bitcoin, and then it'll hold it into this vault. And through that, we've accumulated sums of money, but I don't want to sell that sum of money, and I just want to leave it there.
Yeah, it's painful. It is all about your time preference. This is an extreme though. Because I'm just going, oh, I could buy something. No, I can't because I have no money.
Every time you take a tenner or whatever you put in across, a 50 quid, 100 quid, that goes, right?
Yeah, I was just having a quick look as well because I bought Bitcoin some time ago to play about the Revolut app, and I'm trying to find out how much I actually bought because that shot up as well on how much is actually there. But I'm really struggling to actually work out. I think it was 70 quid and that's worth 269 now. So that's just sitting within like the Revolut app. I'll probably move that to Blue Wallet or something similar. So it's not so much I've taken into account of.
Yeah, this is the whole mentality with savings, right? Because I remember even as a kid, I would have my current account, I have a savings account, and each month when I got paid, I would move an amount of my income into a savings account. And so even though I knew it was just there, there's a mental thing about, this is my current account. If I blow this to zero, then that's allowed because it's my current account. But I knew the second I'm dipping into savings, like I knew that was bad. And it's it literally does not matter. The money is just arbitrarily in two different accounts. One says savings, one says current. They're the same fucking thing, but it's a mental barrier to yourself where you know that this was meant to be for the future. So it's the same with the vaults. And in reality, the more you can kind of trick yourself into stealing from your current self and giving to your future self, the better. So Revolut just does that.
It's a great app. It is great, but it is irritating.
Yeah. Well, your current self fucking hates it because you constantly skin. But your future self, like that 70 quid's now worth 270. All that spare change that you would have just probably spent in one go because you would have had 50 quid left in your account and probably just blew it on something. Instead, that 50 quid got stolen from you, and it's probably sat worth hundreds now in your vault because it converted it to Bitcoin. And now you don't want to take it out of there as well. So it's like it's treasure now, it's sats. And I can almost guarantee that's going to end up on your ledger and probably not get sold for years. Whereas the pounds would have just got evaporated. You'd have been looking at your account going, oh, I've got an extra 50 quid. Oh, do you want to go out today? Let's take the kids out. And it's gone. And that potentially was thousands of pounds worth of sats.
But it's like I invest. I put money into sats every week. So I've got all these things. I've got very good habits on that. But now to punish myself even more, I'm doing the spare change times by 10. I'm just like, what is wrong with me?
You're getting a masochist. Everyone becomes a masochist when it comes to Bitcoin.
Yeah. But I'm like this in general life. I've just got worse as I got older. It's like, oh, I'll go out my bike today. I might take the flat route. And it's just like, I start going, no, that's a hill. That's a hill. And it's just like, what are you doing?
The punishment. But moving on from the Coinbase, there's another Coinbase story here as well. So not only do they put a load of balance sheet into crypto, it's good news for UK customers. And this looks really good because there's actually two stories linked in here that I saw today as well, because they've now got 150K worth of account protection, which is crazy because that is double what banks would protect when it comes to fiat. So I don't know why they've doubled it, because if I was Coinbase, I'd have just matched it. But they've gone, fuck it. We really want to show how good we are.
I think they're making record profits. So I think it's just like, come to us. You know, we have a hack. We've seen all these hacks lately. We'll look after you.
The problem is, literally, I found a story literally today. And admittedly, this is an American couple, so they wouldn't have been covered by this because weirdly, it's only UK, which is quite weird. But I think
it's a trial in the UK to begin with.
Okay, right. Yeah, because there's a story that I linked in here where one family, they had $168,000 worth of crypto on their account. They had two-factor authentication enabled, but the problem was a hacker got access to their emails. They also managed to SIM swap their phone and then got the two-factor authentication working remotely on their phone, had access to the emails, essentially reset the account, got all the crypto and sent it out. They've gone to Coinbase and gone, what the fuck? Like, our crypto is gone. They've just went, sorry, it's gone. Now, that 168, probably if you convert that to pounds, is easily 150K. It's under that limit. So if that was a UK customer, Coinbase have to give that customer all their money back. And that is just a direct one-off payment, right? They would have to put £150,000 worth of crypto back in that person's account when genuinely it just got stolen out the back door. And we know with the banking system and with all the kind of insurances they put on fiat, we know they're not really getting that money out of like real money, right? They just get it from the printer. So they just go to the government and go, oh shit, we had to pay out loads of insurance this year. Could we have an extra couple of billion? And they're like, sure, we'll sort you out. And bang, all the money just appears. It's fiat, right? It's worthless pieces of shit. They just edit the field in a Excel spreadsheet. But when it's crypto, like this could be 150 grand worth of Bitcoin that goes out the door. They have to put 150 grand worth of Bitcoin back in. That's a real cost. That's not a fake cost.
It is a question. Do you feel sorry for them?
Oh, no. But this could be I don't know. I don't know which insurance company is behind this, but I would be freaking shitting my pants if I was them, because there's a lot of stupid people out there that fall to these hacks. Coinbase as a platform has never been hacked, but users are stupid and users get hacked all the time. And they have millions of UK customers.
It'll probably be something very tight around what's classed as a hack with Coinbase, because obviously they'll be paying for their insurance from their massive profits, but they'll also have things like, if it's your email, it's your email. If it's us, it's us. You know, there's a difference between your email getting hacked and Coinbase getting hacked.
That's covered. It says like if someone illegally accesses your account and empties the account, that is covered. The only thing that isn't covered is if you send it to the wrong address and it just gets lost.
Correct.
If I read through the small. If someone gets in pretending to be you and empties your account, that is covered under this insurance, which I must admit, that is fantastic. So if for any UK people that have Coinbase accounts and are worried about having their crypto there and aren't quite up to the point where they want to get their ledger, this is fantastic. Because if any one day...
You're going to get some dickheads who try and say, oh yeah, my account's been hacked.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot of that.
You really are.
And you're going to get some drunk student or high student who's just like gets their friend to hack their account. So imagine, you know, not only will Coinbase be paying massive insurance premiums, but they'll have a team of what we call is it white hat hackers? Who'll be chasing these people down and be digging into all sorts. So it's not something that you'd want to fuck with. So they'll find out, especially if you're a novice trying to pull some stunt.
But I must admit, it's great news for crypto. It's showing that it's maturing, because that level of insurance, I must admit, if I was the insurance guy, I would never have given Coinbase that level. I would imagine we're going to be paying out fucking billions on that. So I don't know if Coinbase are paying billions for it, because they're going to be paying out billions. So there's a lot of stupid UK people.
It kind of gives Coinbase that wide moat, doesn't it, around the customers that they're bringing in, and going back to the point of why you'll never leave.
Yeah.
Because if others can't offer this, and obviously the price goes up, and you dare to care to hold your Bitcoin or just your fiat in Coinbase, obviously knowing that it's never been hacked before, at least you think, well, I'm safe. I don't need to do anything else. And what you could do is always, and I think you and I were talking about it offline, weren't we, Gaz, in terms of just leaving the money on the account just there. You know, that rather than putting it in the banks, because if something was to happen to a bank and there's a run on the bank, then your money is obviously there, and then they have access to that money, which means that you won't have access to it. So as a hedge against that ever happening, you might also just want to put your savings of some sort just on the balance sheet in Coinbase as your new bank.
Yeah, because then if you ever get that warning that, oh shit, the entire economy is coming down,
Correct.
Your cash is sat in Coinbase.
Yeah,
you can convert it to Bitcoin super quick and get it out. There's no waiting one day for it to arrive, and potentially in that one day they might go fuck.
That's an interesting take.
Yeah, because this is the thing, and it's insured now. But back in the day, it was, is it insured? So now you could potentially use Coinbase as your savings account. Obviously, they don't give interest on pounds, but neither does your bank.
But neither does your bank. So wouldn't you rather have it in a much more secure place?
Yeah, and you're one click away from it turning into sats, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you don't want all your money in sats, which is fair enough. You want 5% outside just in case the worst happens. But still leave it in Coinbase.
Yeah.
I've got probably too much money sitting on Coinbase because I've just been DCAing into it. And I have been like, I've got to move that, but I am kind of like going, might just leave it now.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The thing is, though, the one thing I would say about this insurance, though, it is insured up to 150K, but if you did get hacked or Coinbase went down, potentially that money is gone for months, if not years, right? And also the problem with this type of stuff, actually, if I remember back on Mt. Gox, is sometimes if you lose it now, say, and you got hacked, it might take them 2 years to get it back. And what they will do is they will return the amount of money that it was at the time of the hack, because that's what they did with Mt. Gox. Now, in 2 years, the price of the money that you lost might go from, say, let's just take an arbitrary number, 10K. Bitcoin 10x's over the next 2 years. Your 10K is now worth 100. Nope. Your claim at the time of loss was 10K. So you do not get 100K, you get 10. So it is worth remembering that bit.
Yes.
Yeah,
you're
it's
absolutely
important. It is a minority of my share, which is on there just from the DCAing. So it is true. I do need to just pull my finger out and move it.
Yeah, because I just remember the Mt. Gox guys, they all had Bitcoin that they lost. And when the hack happened in 2013, I think the price of Bitcoin was about $500 or something. And the claim is still being sorted out now.
right.
So, but the amount of money they are claiming for is Bitcoin at $500. It is now 50,000. That isn't a 10x, that's a 100x. So if they had 10 grand in there, they are actually, if they would actually have the Bitcoin back in sats, they would have $1 million. But instead, they're getting 10,000 in fiat. So these arbitrations and insurance payouts, it's great that it's there and it's a nice safety net that you're not going to have total loss. But in Bitcoin land, if you get tied up in one of these insurance things, it could be really painful having it pay out, because by the time you get your money, Bitcoin's 10x again. And you're like, this feels like total loss because I technically got all my money back, but it's 90% down on what it should be because Bitcoin's appreciated by so much. And I got the cash back instead of the sats. And I don't want the fiat, I want the sats.
So what we're saying is
very good point.
Hedge your bets on various different exchanges as well. So whilst the 4Bs is not yet currently sponsored by Coinbase, shout out to Coinbase, there are other exchanges that might want to that you might want to deposit your money in.
That's a very, very good point. So I set up an account on Kraken, but I still haven't actually used it. I probably should just put through a little bit of money just to
test the process. Yeah.
Releasing the Kraken.
Because once you tie a bank account and you put some Bitcoin on and do all that, they wait like 28 days, I think, for like a fraud flag to be raised on it. Because if you have access to someone else's account, then that's when the fraud will get raised. You stole someone's credit card and buying Bitcoin with it. So once you've just gone end to end and no fraud has been raised, that your account essentially gets white flagged and you just get put in the safe bin. So it's just worthwhile doing that, because occasionally they can incorrectly say you're a fraudster, and then you just get stuck in a black flag bin for fucking 6 months. And you don't want that to happen on the day that your Coinbase account gets shut down.
I was going to say, I think my bank's probably actually given up on me.
Next on the agenda. For some reason, I can't get. I'm trying to send the agenda to myself, so I've got it up here. So I'm looking at my phone, and I don't know if there's something in it that my email just won't accept.
That's weird.
Is it wrecked of the week?
That is next. I reckon we might go on to hack of the week because it's an exchange. Yeah. So we've just talked about how good exchanges are. This is one of yours, so never look. And it's a liquid exchange getting hacked worth $97 million. Got hacked from exchange. This is an example of exchange where you shouldn't hold money there because they got fucked.
Yeah, absolutely. So liquid exchange, large exchange in Japan. And lo and behold, it has been hacked by hackers. And I'm sure that of the 340 exchanges that are out there in the crypto world, every one of them is probably being tested right now by hackers without a shadow of a doubt. So as good as they are no doubt being tested each and every day. And this one has been penetrated. $90 million. Trigger word for guys there.
So child.
And ultimately, the funds are gone. So to our point, if you had money on it, it's gone. Simple as that. But update is that some of the money or some of the coins have now appeared on Uniswap and I think something else as well.
Pancake Swap.
Pancake Swap. Yeah.
You got such stupid names, this DeFi bullshit.
Yeah. Sushi Swap as well.
Yeah.
That's one as well. So, ultimately, we know that it's going to eventually wind itself into a wallet or a number of wallets, and then you have to trace back to where those coins are and the individual. But yeah, for all the goodness that we were talking about, leaving your money on an exchange, there's a flip side to it.
Yeah. make sure the
No.
exchange has an insurance. Like Coinbase,
Yeah.
I think will definitely have the highest there. 150k
Yeah.
is crazy high. That's higher
First
than
of its kind.
that's double what a bank account has. So that is we've gone from the normal finance world to doubly as good. It's insanely as good, which is, it amazes me. But yeah, most exchanges have zero. You lose your money, they lose their money, it's all gone. But yeah, what's interesting here, is the hacker took this 97 million in various shit coins. I think about 20 million of it is in Bitcoin, and they haven't touched that because I think they know that like that's the valuable bit. But they've tried to convert the shit coins into fiat. But as they've tried to do it, they've had to go through DeFi, and DeFi being as decentralized as it is, which it isn't. As the coins have come in, they've started freezing it and blocking it. So they've blocked like 20 million of ETH, I think. They've got like 9 million of like fucking boink boink or whatever. And they're freezing it. So it just shows that like, if these exchanges and decentralized finance, this is supposed to be like the whole point of being decentralized, right? Is that no one can censor it. Anyone can do any transaction they want, including illegal ones. So this is technically an illegal transaction, but DeFi is blocking the hacker from doing the transaction, which means it is not decentralized, it is not unsensible, it is not Bitcoin, because no one can do this on Bitcoin. If that guy wanted to move his Bitcoin around to various wallets, he's fucking free to do it. The second he hits a centralized exchange, then he could be in trouble, because then he's probably got a KYC to get out.
Yeah.
So this is always the problem when you do hack crypto at the moment, because especially if you've got your Bitcoin, then you're good to go. You can send that around to any wallet. If you hack Ether or you hack any of these shit coins, what the founders of those coins do is they know which coins you've hacked and they look through it. And the second you send it, they block it and freeze the transaction.
Yeah.
So this is literally proving that if the shit coin guys that own these blockchains can freeze hackers' coins, there's nothing stopping a government coming in and going, we want to censor certain transactions, we want to change the blockchain. The whole thing about being immutable and about being decentralized, every single time we see these hacks, all the shitcoiners jump in to try and help, and they don't realize that they are fundamentally undermining the entire proposition of the product they are selling by proving that they can help. You shouldn't be able to help if the thing is decentralized. That is the whole point of being decentralized. If you can help, it means you're centralized. Fuck.
Preach. Just out of interest, so play it out, right? So on the Bitcoin front, how would they move that?
Well, they could move it to any wallet they wanted, and no one can stop it. You could have those coins, like the 20 million worth of coins that they've got in an account. You could mark it and go, these are the hacked coins, but they can move that anywhere on the network. They're completely free to do so. It's just a transaction. Uncensorable, send it around. The only way you'd get caught is if you send that Bitcoin to a wallet that has KYC on it.
Yeah.
So if you've recently had money on Coinbase or whatever, and you've sent money from that account to a wallet, and then your hacked coins went into that same wallet, bang, you've now sent it to a known wallet that has KYC on it. So you potentially get caught there. But this is just, now you just need to be smart, right? If you've stolen 97 million, you would hope you're relatively smart. You're not going to send it to any wallet that's been KYC'd. The problem is it's going to be tough to cash out. So in reality, what you would need to find is people that accept Bitcoin. So you would need to go around and go, right, I want to buy a house and I want to just pay in Bitcoin, and try and get that person to do it. And then the problem is you're also going to have is then if you do then finally sell it, then that person might convert that Bitcoin to cash. They're going to send those coins to an exchange. They're going to then get, police is going to come around to them and go, what the hell? And you're going to go, I sold that house. You go, oh, right. Who's living in the house? Boom, got you.
You're waiting for Taproot to happen, aren't you, in this circumstance? Because you want to push it through CoinJoin, and then Taproot would take away the markings, and so you can sell it through an exchange.
Yeah, that's spot on, actually. Yeah, that's actually it. That's, what you need to do is remove the traceability. So the Bitcoin that you've got, you would put it through CoinJoin and it pops out.
And how far away are we from that?
But you can do it now. The only problem that you would have with this amount is the fact that you need liquidity on the other end. So if you tried to do 20 million in one go, there wouldn't be 20 million on the other side. So you would probably have to do, say, 100,000 at a time. So it would take you a while because the product isn't that big. Otherwise, you'd put like 97 million in, or so I say you're 20 million in this side. There's only 200,000 being mixed with it. So by and large, the coins that come out the other end are the same coins. So
Yeah.
you haven't really obfuscated it at all. So the only problem they would have is the amount. But yeah, if you're just patient, spend a couple of years doing that, then you're good to go. A couple of years time, you got 20 million, good to go.
But as long as you're not a moron, you just do, 100 grand, live off that, and then just keep on doing it, because we've talked about like living expenses. What do you actually need? If you've got 95 million, what would you do? Maybe go and live on some island, learn to dive, drinking mojitos, doing whatever the fuck you wanted for a number of years. So
it's classic. You couldn't spend it because the price would continue to go up as well.
You'd struggle to spend that 100 grand. All you need is a Wi-Fi connection at night. What am I going to do? I'm going to clean this money and then learn to dive, whatever you want, meet some Latinos.
I think with hacks, it kind of is actually going to be a battle of the criminal minds and the geniuses as to how good they are. Otherwise, I think it's just going to turn into an online version of America's Dumbest Criminals, because that's how they're going to get caught, essentially, isn't it? They're going to do a dumb move after doing, essentially, and I'm not advocating this, but a genius move of initially stealing the money. And you just think, wow, that was stupid. And you got caught by doing that,
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, bizarrely, I think it will end up, at the moment, it's very easy to make a mistake. But I think if you fast forward a couple of years to anonymize your coins, will just be a click of a button in a wallet. Like you won't have to do anything smart. It'll just be like, oh yeah, I've just taken this from an exchange to my wallet. I just want to make this private. You click the private button, it charges you like a 0.1% fee, and your money disappears off for like 10 minutes, comes back, and it's clean. And
It'll just go down to no preference time then, won't it?
Yeah, it'll be
in terms of just they can wait.
Yeah, and obviously the liquidity at that point will be crazy. So potentially, if you did want to do 20 million, it wouldn't take you a couple of years. It might take you a day, 2 days, a week.
Yeah. So
it's literally just how many people want private coins. That's the question at the moment. It's not very high. Not that many people want them. So the liquidity is low. As the demand goes up, it makes it easier for everyone else to then get private coins as well.
I think it's not the need, but we've got potential when fiat really is crashing. That's when you're going to see demand go up, when the government starts trying to skim tax or trying to get into Bitcoin, getting people's wealth. People are just like, fuck this, That's when I'd look at doing it, because you'd wait it out until the government dies off.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When they put out that order, the same one as they did for gold, that says anyone holding more than an ounce of gold, then you got to give it in, otherwise you're breaking the law. They'll probably do that for Bitcoin. It'll be like 100,000 sats or something. If you have more than 100,000 sats, which is just day-to-day spends, then you have to send it to the government. That'll be when coin join activity goes through the fucking roof, because everyone's going to be going, holy shit, I need to look like, according to the government, I don't have more than 100,000 sats. Let's coin join these motherfuckers.
Yeah, I would do that if I hadn't lost mine on a boating accident.
I know, it's a shame, isn't it? Damn boat. Still talking about it though, aren't we? Even though we've lost it all in the freaking boating accident, we're still here talking.
It's just saying it's such a sound concept. It's just such a shame, that boating accident, when we're all showing off our ledgers to each other.
This is the model of a ledger. This is like what my ledger used to look like.
Yeah. You've not received that.
I mean, I do question what you're actually doing for money now, Gaz, considering you don't work.
I know.
Those acts around the back of Tesco's.
I'm selling my body. Yeah.
Well, I think that was the reason why OnlyFans probably stopped, isn't it?
What? Because I stopped.
because you were on it. Yeah.
I was funding half like the people on it. It's 50% their customer base.
So is this with OnlyFans? Is it all material, or is it just a certain level? Because I've read kind of like two narratives on this, like it's all like nudity, all porn, and then one which is beyond a certain point, but I'm guessing it's like sex, it's banning.
It's everything. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to end on this, won't we? But we've managed to end up on OnlyFans early, which probably isn't a surprise, but it's just so tempting, isn't it? OnlyFans comes up every episode. But yeah, it's a weird one, this. Yeah. So there's they are undoubtedly banning all sexual content on their platform. So Yeah, this is a story that, like, weirdly, this is like when I looked at it, I've been thinking about this quite a lot today because it was like a funny story that I added. You know what?
Naturally.
Yeah. I always got my OnlyFans girls front of mind. But wait, this is a big story. This is a fundamental acknowledgement that of the elite keeping the needy and the poor disconnected from the financial world. And when you really go, how the fuck are you drawing those lines? Like, this is like massive tin hat kind of like stuff when you say a statement like that. But fundamentally, I've gone straight to the ending. So what's happened here is OnlyFans have banned all sexual content from their platform. They are a sexual content platform in exchange for money. So this is just suicidal. So first you look at, like, why did they do that? Why would OnlyFans do this? You ask their CEO and go, is this the worst business decision of all time? And they're literally trying to pivot into a legit company and they want to get rid of sex? No. Their CEO actively has come out and gone, we did not want to do this. The banking partners have said they will pull our banking services unless we switch.
Yeah.
You go, right, it isn't the company. They wanted to stay the same. They've been forced. They have their banking switched off. So now you have to ask the banking system, why did they do it? Their statement is apparently there is some child porn on OnlyFans. There's some kids that have got on apparently and are selling pictures of themselves. So they have decided to cut all ties with this provider. So suddenly now the banking community have decided they're going to be the arbitrators of kind of what's ethical, what's moral. In reality, what would normally happen in a child porn case? The police would go in, right? You don't just cut off the banking. You do that, but then you go in and you send prosecutors in and go, what the hell? OnlyFans have got child porn on here. In reality, what they mean...
And you bring in an age verification system as well.
Which they already have, right? So
you don't shut the whole platform down.
Yeah, you don't shut down a platform for hundreds of thousands of people that are clearly making money off a legit service. You fix the problem, right? So and already age verification is already in there. Now, I don't doubt, and they claim that there are 16-year-olds in there that are...
What's their age verification system like, guys?
I actually don't know. Well, this is, by and large, it's not for the people buying it, it's for the people selling it. That's what they're worried about. I don't think they care about underage people getting access to it, because obviously porn is free on the internet anyway. You could be 8 years old, get access to a phone and type in the wrong thing onto your phone, and you're going to access porn straight away. So it's not the users of it, it's the actresses. So, and I don't doubt that undoubtedly there are going to be some 16-year-olds that have access to their sister's ID or their friend's ID or their mum's, signed up using that, and then sell underage pictures of themselves through their OnlyFans. Now, I completely agree. This should be shut down. And when you look at it straight away, you go, well, that's an easy problem to fix. Just use facial recognition. They've used, because the thing is, like, there's underage gamblers all over the place. There's lads grabbing their dad's ID, signing up, and then gambling at 14, 15, 16. Now, that's a tough thing to fix, because the product is gambling. With that OnlyFans, they are selling pictures of themselves. So you could literally do facial recognition throughout the whole fucking product. And even if the person signing up was like this 18-year-old girl, if the person using the account ends up being this 15-year-old girl, then you could constantly do facial recognition and go, hold on, does this match the sign up? No, it's not.
Yeah. Let's
freeze this account, ask this girl to re-verify, because it looks like the person using the account is underage and doesn't have valid ID. So there's so basically, I'm basically going, let's just dismiss that reason. Like, it is not a child porn issue. It's just, that is the reason they say. It's like when they say, why should Bitcoin be banned? Oh, it funds terrorism and boil the oceans. It's classic FUD. This is classic FUD against OnlyFans. So really, when you look back the next level, you go, right, if the banks aren't making this decision for themselves, because they make shit tons of money, right? OnlyFans generates $1 billion worth of revenue last year. It went crazy during the pandemic. Banks love this stuff. Loads of transactions. They probably made millions of dollars worth of fees. They don't want this service to be shut down. They're making loads of money off it. So then you go the next level and go, well, who tells the banks what to do? Well, it's the elites, the people that kind of run the world, right? And then when I looked at that, I went, well, hold on. How am I going to convince myself this is legit? Because if they want to cut off their money supply to these people here, normally it means they are getting paid somewhere else.
Yeah.
So where are they getting paid? And I couldn't figure it out. I was like, they're not getting paid anywhere else. So they're literally just trying to be mean. I go, why would they be trying to be mean? You go, oh, of course. The poorest in society that were at the bottom of the rung, the people that grow up in families that are broken, where there's a lot of abuse, they come out with poor education, they probably have a criminal record. These people, the men go into drugs, the women go into sex. So drugs is already well regulated, and obviously as both things are highly illegal. And weirdly, we had an example where men that sell drugs had access to a much safer platform where they could sell drugs much more safely, obviously still highly illegal. We had Silk Road. And Silk Road came along, and suddenly the whole most dangerous thing about selling drugs is the transaction. That's where all the crime happens, where all the murders and the muggings all happen. Silk Road made you able to do that on through a website, send Bitcoin, send it through the post, made drug dealing much safer. So obviously the government shut that one down. They wanted men to go out, and it's a lot of the men that sell drugs do it through necessity. Yeah, they've got a criminal record, they don't have an education, they don't have a family support network. They're just doing what they can do to try and survive. They want them out on the street killing each other over like land and fucking, okay, this is our territory, not your territory, doing dodgy deals and back alleys. That's why they want drugs to happen. Because obviously the selling of drugs has not decreased since Silk Road got shut down. It's just continued to go up. But how do women make their money? They make their money selling their body, and typically it can be stripping, kind of prostitution. And weirdly, OnlyFans came along, and suddenly OnlyFans is like Silk Road, but for sex. It's a much safer version. They can do it online from the safety of their own home, and suddenly they have the capability of scaling their operation. Instead of just selling to one customer at a time, they could sell to 10,000. And I think what they saw is this platform getting so big that there's going to be loads of low-income women that were going to be earning millions of dollars a year and getting out of the poverty that they got put in. And I think they didn't like it. And I think they wanted this
some
switch
famous
off.
people on it. There's someone who I read in my article who I've done. Bella something. I went, who on earth's that?
Yeah, I don't know who Bella Thorne is. Yeah, I think she's some American, and she made $1 million in a day. You know, the Cash Me Outside. How about that?
Yeah,
she made $1 million in 6 hours, and that girl's 18 and comes from exactly the type of background I'm talking about.
Correct.
Is she an actress or a singer or something?
No, she's just.
She went on their version of Jeremy Kyle, didn't she?
Yeah, exactly.
She had loads of issues with her mum, and then she started she called all the audience hoes or sluts or something, and then the guy went,
"Got a problem with me? Then catch me outside."
Yeah, catch me outside. How about that?
Yeah,
she became famous from that, and yeah. But I honestly do think this is why they shut OnlyFans down. Yeah. I think they shut OnlyFans down because it was giving women of a poor background an opportunity for success. I think they wanted to shut it off. I think they've used the excuse of child porn as a nice, easy reason. And there's now hundreds of thousands of women who are making between over 50,000 a year on this platform, which is a really good wage. And they can bring up a family. They don't have to go out.
It's a beard.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, what I'd ask you then is, why have they done it otherwise?
I was wondering this myself, because the banks is a bit of a funny one. The one which I thought about, which is both affecting America and the UK, is getting people into things like hospitality work, so restaurants, hotels, the lower paid work, which people aren't coming back to. You know, they have got a genuine shortage of staff, which is a mixture between, it could be this, but it's also things like people moving back to Poland, Romania, because fuck am I staying in the UK when I'm stuck in a pokey flat in Birmingham, when I can just go home and have a bit of freedom there. So that's kind of what my thought is. It's actually they want people back in jobs, service jobs.
That's just a tinfoil hat then. That's still manipulation.
Yeah. It's a guess, because the bank thing doesn't make sense. You know, what they're
saying is the child porn. That is, they reckon there's child porn on there. So the banks have decided, for whatever reason, they are the police, and they're shutting the business down.
It's we haven't talked about this, but there's a news announcement that Apple were going to be linking, I think, American accounts to the national database of whatever child porn it was. That's to look through images to link. Oh, yeah. And, that was one where I just went, no, they're not policing for that reason. So Yeah, but that is surveillance. That is just an excuse to get into your phone to then turn it into a surveillance scheme, just like WhatsApp. And it's similar like that. It's a buzzword. So, how long until Bitcoin's linked to child porn?
It already is.
No.
Do you think, I guess ultimately, were they collecting taxes from people that were on OnlyFans?
Oh, yeah.
So they were, they
They're all KYC'd.
Yeah.
So if there was any tax evasion, they can go after them individually. It's all recorded.
But they need to be served their coffee.
I think it does then go back to the fact that they were just making too much money, and they wanted to put them back down into the place where they think that they belonged.
Yeah, I think weirdly, that extra point, I hadn't thought about that Ross just said there. I think they need these people back in their menial jobs.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of cleaners and waitresses, and they're now making what they did in a year in a month on OnlyFans. They need that to stop. They need the people at the bottom, the people that are literally willing to like sell drugs on the street or sell their body online. No one wants to do either of those things. They are doing those things out of desperation because it's very embarrassing publicly. If you get found out to be a drug dealer or an OnlyFans girl in day-to-day life, that's very embarrassing. We know it is. So people do not do this out of choice. And yeah, they want to remove those options. And because they've suddenly made an OnlyFans version, which is you can really scale. Like if you're a stripper, like, yeah, you can make a couple of grand a night or whatever, but you got to go out there. You got to face rude men. You've got to like, potentially there's like the risk of violence and just being in these bad environments, awkward situations. OnlyFans is so safe. You're behind a screen and all the bad comments are just words on a screen. Like who cares about words on a screen, right? We all know they're just like this bounce office are just trolls. But when it's said face to face, person to person, very different.
Yeah.
And I think too many girls got into this, and I think they've started making too much money, and they just want to cut off. So there's a load of Bitcoiners now that are talking about let's set up an OnlyFans, but let's power it with Bitcoin, and so they can't cut off. It
makes sense. It's another use case, isn't it? Because we've had Silk Road, we've got the current version, which is your store of value, your kind of gold, and you bring in another marketplace like OnlyFans. It'd be another great use case. And it'd be, well, how are you going to stop this? Oh, child porn. Okay, we'll pay someone. We'll have someone's full-time job to go through all these videos and pick out any suspicious ones and make sure they've gone through proper KYC.
Yeah. Did you guys check out Caffeine, by the way? Did you have a look at it? No. I think that is definitely going to, you could see Bitcoin being legible for that as well. Just those micro payments, it's ideal for it.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, I watched a couple of stuff on there. Yeah, it's decent.
Yeah,
but yeah, so it's weird because that was meant to be a last like end story. When I first put it on here, it was a joke because only fans get shut down. And when I first saw it, I just thought it was a bad business decision. Then the more I thought about it, I was like, holy shit, this is again, it comes to the core of Bitcoin, right? This is censorship. This is the elite trying to keep the people trying to make it from the bottom, trying to make a decent living and become financially free, and they're cutting them off.
The final kind of like points of question is, what are you going to do with your day now, guys? you start the day off with your fiat cereal on Twitter, then what?
I know. But weirdly, like even Pornhub, like they got their banking revoked as well because they opened up their platform to enable people to submit videos and they make money off if they got viewed because they put adverts on them and stuff. Even Pornhub got threatened with having their banking revoked unless they removed that ability. So that's when they started accepting Bitcoin, but they stopped users being able to submit. So it's weird. Like they literally seem to be following the sex industry across the internet. And every time a platform gets successful and people start making money, they use the banks to switch them off. So undoubtedly, they are threatened by this. They do not want people selling sex online.
So ultimately, is it about a new payment process that accepts Bitcoin and is therefore not linked to a bank? Like the likes of an Adyen or a Stripe or even a PayPal, that's not linked to a bank.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're just third-party processors. Like the money still needs to be in a bank.
Yeah.
And they would cut you off. Like PayPal are the worst for it. PayPal, sex workers have used like PayPal since the internet came around, and once they realize it's a sex worker at the other end, they cut them off.
Yeah,
nearly all sex workers have been banned from PayPal because that's how they used to like accept tips and all that type of stuff. And it's weird. It's I think the sex industry is almost it's like with porn and all that. Like they always are the front of any new industry, and like they almost define what works.
It was the DVD versus
VHS.
Was it, or was it Blu-ray versus what was the other one? HD disc.
It was. They did. I think they did that one as well, but it was also VHS against something else.
Betamax.
Yeah.
So I remember someone who we worked with told me about this because he was a big techno fan and also into that kind of stuff. And he was explaining that it basically was decided by porn which way they went because Betamax had better storage. And I think also wearability on the actual whatever you want to call it, the tape. And the same with DVD, Blu-ray discs versus HD discs. It's actually better to go down the other way, but porn chose the weaker one and that one.
So literally we need porn to pick Bitcoin and then we win.
Boom.
Because unfortunately, what's happened in those two examples you just picked there, which is true, is the fact that porn picked the worst product, but made it win. Because
so we're going to end up with Dogecoin.
I know.
Oh, God. or Come Rocket.
I know. Well, weirdly, Come Rocket is up about 300% since this news hit, because Come Rocket are trying to be a decentralized platform for sex workers. So weirdly, their use case, even though they don't have a product, people started buying the coin because they're fucking idiots. But there we go.
So what do we want to go with now? We've got, I think, 2 topics left. Rect of the week.
Yeah, we've got FUD of the week and the lesson of the week. And shitcoin corner. We've got 4.
Yeah.
So do we want to go on to Rect of the week? So 20 Bitcoins worth of keys deleted. So this was some guy who apparently mined 20 Bitcoin over 10 years ago. So when he was in the 7th grade, when he was, I forget what, 14. When he was like 14, he said that he mined it using his GeForce graphics card. And he saved it into some kind of file and saved the password into a doc file and managed to delete it and lose everything.
Thank you for your donation, sir.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bitcoin takes no prisoners.
It's I can understand it. Like not only was it 10 years ago, so he was super early. The kid is 14, so he's 24 now, and he would have had $1 million. But at the time, he probably had that Bitcoin was worth like $5. So he didn't give a shit. It was just $5. Didn't really know how to get access to it. Didn't know how to sell it. Just forgot about it.
Did it?
And
but it's a fact that
he's $1 million.
He's obviously looked into it when he's 14. It says, I do not actively invest money in crypto. Is mostly just for playing around on the markets and seeing how things change. But he must have had some clue when he was 14 to actually spend the time setting that up. So I'm kind of like going, is he just
not your average 14-year-old?
Yeah, is he too salty now to go back into it? Because he was so early, he could have gone back in at a decent rate.
Yeah, and 20 Bitcoin back then is such a small amount. Like if you 10 years ago, that's like buying like 3 Satoshis today. Like, why would you buy 3 Satoshis? Just buy 100,000 at least. And so it was such a small amount. Like he just literally dipped his toes in the water. And this, I think it is completely saltiness, because he knows now he will never be able to have 20 Bitcoin again, because it's $1 million. And that $1 million is only going to go up and get further and further away. It's going to be 2 million, then 3 million, then 4 million. And he's just going to be like, oh my God, like I haven't even got 1 Bitcoin and I just threw away 20. So yeah, he's salty. He can't bear to put his hard-earned money into a thing that he had $1 million. He basically won the lottery and he set fire to the lottery ticket. And now he doesn't want to play anymore. But it's just going to hurt him even more. He's just literally doubling down on his failure. It's sad, but I understand it. This is the human mind, right?
It says
Peter Schiff in disguise.
At
He
least he got
deleted it.
some.
It said he
Yeah.
deleted the document whilst cleaning up the device. And it's just like, well, you know, why didn't you have a backup one? And then two, it said attempts to recover Bitcoin asset hit $1,000 7 years after Michael first mined it. Proved futile. It's like at that point, it's still $1,000. If you'd obviously spent a bit of time looking into it because it's 7 years which you had this.
Yeah.
So surely you would have looked and go $1,000, or maybe I should put some money into it now. It just seems a little bit odd, or he's just, you know, it's one of these people who sold or lost it at the wrong time and then just goes, I'm not investing.
Just forever bitter from the first casualty.
The problem is once you've seen basically nothing go from nothing to $1,000, you think that's the top, and you just go, I'm not buying in now, because if I buy in now, say I would only have 200 Bitcoin. That's not enough. Like if I bought this amount back in the day, I'd have had 2,000 Bitcoin. I'm not going to buy in. It's the top. I'll wait until I get 2,000 Bitcoin for $1,000.
Yeah.
And then obviously time's gone on and on and on, and it's like, oh fuck.
I miss my chance.
I suppose it is that mindset, isn't it? Because, you know, well, everyone on this has had the chance to buy Bitcoin earlier. Daniel and I have referred to 2017, which we've been hodling since. And we could have bought more then. You probably could have bought at an earlier stage as well, Gaz. I know that you talked to us earlier about it, and I said, no, it's top. Whereas if I'd been really stubborn and sold to, I could have gone, no.
You were right. It was at a top, but it was $1,000 top.
But still, I bought it at, I don't know how many times more expensive because I admitted my mistake.
Yeah.
And it is that kind of growth mindset.
Yeah.
But
I think it is hard. Imagine if any of us though had like this 20 Bitcoin and we had it back from then. I think we would have been much more salty. But the good thing is, like, at least like you missed it, but you didn't buy it then lose it. That's, I think, an extra level of mental like fucking toughness to get through.
Yeah. Exactly what I was going to say. The fact that you didn't lose it, and that is always going to pain you. It's like, I don't know, it might just be me, but whenever I lose things, they always niggle in the back of my mind, especially if you don't know how you've lost it. Like, fair enough, it's gone, but it's just because the human mind likes to settle, doesn't it? As to, okay, it happened like this and it's done. And if you can't do that, then it will forever just play on the back of your mind. And I think it just creates a barrier for you to then move on. Especially
when it's your fault, right? Like, you're the idiot.
100%.
Like, so because I do this, like, say I break something, I hate replacing it. I'm an idiot. Like, if I just dropped it, I'm like, that was a perfectly good thing. It was worth, like, say 50 quid. I just smashed it. I use this thing every day, but I do not want to buy another one because I'm an idiot. And this is that, but times 1,000. Because
you've got the other example in Bitcoin, which is people who've held and sold it because they think they've seen a top and then see it soar above and refuse to buy in. You know, I think we know plenty of people like that.
Well, weirdly, that is perfect for this example, right? Because literally what you just read out was he tried to then get access to the coins when it hit $1,000. So that is when he would have sold, right? He would have sold then. So he had his 20 Bitcoin at $1,000. He would have sold when it was worth 200K. That was him out. Actually, no, maybe, what was it?
20K.
Is it 20K? Oh, 20K. Yeah, 20K.
If it was 10K, that's 200, and then 50,000 for a million.
So he didn't lose $1 million. He lost 20K. So at least he can be slightly kind of rest himself there, because he wanted to exit at 20K. Then that 20K went on to be worth $1 million. He doesn't have to pretend to think that he lost $1 million. He didn't. He lost 20K because that's when he would have sold.
But he's still a moron. Anyway, enough of that shit.
And we are on.
Trying to go on to the Bitcoin lesson of the week, because it's another guy. Yeah. It's a moron.
Oh,
so essentially,
this
is a Reddit thread, which weirdly, unfortunately, it's been deleted. I don't know why, but
it was waiting for approval or something like that, and I couldn't find it on my phone either. So I've been to the link, and literally I could read the comments, but I couldn't actually read the original thread.
Yeah, it's annoying. Like they've deleted it, but basically there's a long post there, but the title's still there and all the comments are there. So the link will still kind of work, but the main whole reason that I linked this isn't there anymore.
Oh, it's
But,
sorry, this post has been removed by the moderators of Bitcoin.
Was that just yesterday or something? Because I'm sure I saw it earlier on this week.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think I clicked it literally yesterday. Yeah. And then today it's gone.
Yeah.
But essentially, yeah, I don't know why they removed it. It wasn't that controversial. I think the guy's just getting a lot of shit, and to be honest, rightly so, right? Because this guy, he's been in Bitcoin for years and years, and he had £360,000 worth of student debt. So this is a typical American. This sounds alien to UK listeners because we would drop a zero off that. To US students, this is normal. Coming out with 360 grand worth of student debt, completely normal.
Why didn't he just go to university abroad? Surely it'd be cheaper.
I know. Well, if you're American, Americans are the greatest country in the world, greatest universities. Yeah. Why would you ever leave? Half of them don't have fucking passports. They never leave.
Yeah.
And what he's done, this whole post, was him celebrating selling all his Bitcoin, 100% of his fucking Bitcoin, to pay off this 360 grand student loan. And he's back to zero, and he was celebrating it. And whilst I always celebrate paying off debt, it's like, well done. Holy shit, that 360k worth of Bitcoin, you're an idiot. Just hold that. If you hold that for 5 years, that the student loan debt, I think in America is quite high. The percentage is quite high. I think it's between 4 and 6%. So that debt is going to really rack it up. It really is. So you do need to get a hold of it.
About this in the UK, and I think it's 6% now as well.
Yeah, it is. So it is high. So it is definitely a debt. But the good thing is, like, when you hit a certain age, it just disappears, right? So it's a debt that is there.
False. That's a lie.
Is it?
So you might want to edit this out, but I know the address of Student Loans Company in Glasgow, and I visited it.
So have I. Yeah, it's a really nice office. It really pissed me off how nice it was.
Yeah, and but that is it's a myth essentially, where people think you get to a certain age and they write it off.
Well, it's 50. I thought in the UK it was 50. Once you get to 50, your student loans gets wiped off. No.
Google. No. It still stays there with you.
But obviously, once you retire and you don't have any earnings, it goes then, right?
Yeah. But you can continue to earn below the threshold, but it doesn't disappear or go.
Let's have a look. Oh, actually, it says after 25 years or 35 years for Scottish people, or at the age of 60, the loan gets taken away. The loan will be written off after 25 years. So holy shit, that if this is right, then that means if you take it out when you were 21, it gets written off at 46.
46, but you've got to earn below that for all that time.
Yeah, and in the UK, then that would be you would probably pay it off. But if you take the US version, 360k, you would still have a huge amount of debt on your head at 46.
I wonder if there's a trigger in there though. So let's say you were obviously below the threshold, you don't have to pay anything. But the minute you go above the threshold, are you therefore triggering it, and you can then never not trigger it? So you'll always be paying it evermore for forevermore.
Yeah, I don't know. Well. Yeah, I don't know. It's dangerous, right? Because this is, again, I think if you can get out of university, like when I got to university, I had 9 grand worth of debt. That was high enough. It took me 10 years to pay that off. And by and large, by the time I ended up paying it off, I think I ended up paying about 15 grand off on the 9. So that nearly doubled, and I did it quite fast. And that was on 9 grand. If I had had 360, no chance. Absolutely fucking no chance. Am I even going to make a dent on that? Because it's the same percentage, right? But I remember when I first started paying off my student loan and I started looking at it, I think the interest was between 40 and 60 pounds a month. And at the time, I was paying off less than that. So it took me about 5 years just to get ahead of the interest, to make it at least start coming down, because
Yeah.
I was paying it and it was still going up. On 360, I don't even want to work out the maths on it. Have you got to earn £1 million a year to be even making that go down? Because I think that is just it's a new tax, right? You might as well set it at, oh, I own $1 billion, because it doesn't matter. Like, just take the percentage.
I think it's a medical degree, isn't it, which he's done. Like you said, when I started our current company, I remember I wasn't even paying off the full amount of the interest every month. And then by it, obviously, it whack by the end, it whacked straight up, and I was paying off chunks of it, but it was still painful. I never looked at how much I actually paid, though. I don't think I could bring myself to look at the total amount versus the actual loan. What was the kind of responses on there? Was anyone roasting him about it?
Oh, everyone was roasting him.
Everyone, yeah.
So that is really apparent in that.
Oh, the oven
now.
was high. There was roasting and basting going on, 1000%. Also, as well, with hindsight, and it's kind of one of those things where if you took a loan out with a normal bank, you could probably get a lower percentage in terms of fees, as opposed to taking it directly with student loans company.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, though, good luck getting a loan for 360 grand as an 18-year-old kid who doesn't have a job.
Yeah.
That would never fucking happen. It's irresponsible and just dangerous to society to allow young kids to get out loans that large with no promise of future earnings. They have not proven they can work yet. So most of the thread comments in the thread are, by and large, what the fuck? How do you get 360 grand worth of debt? And then that's mainly Europeans and like Asian people going, what the hell? And then Americans are just coming in going, that's normal. About 100 grand a year that's just what a degree costs here. And you go, oh my God, you are being robbed. This is...
You go back to the average wage, and then also something which Darnell sent me a couple of weeks ago, which just sat in my emails waiting for me to actually watch it, was around debt, and it was Saifedean Ammous, and it talks about how the fact is you are manufactured to be in debt, so you got to take advantage. So like in Lebanon, the people who did well were people leveraged up on debt for mortgages and investments. The people who did badly was the people who had collected cash, because obviously the currency hyperinflated, and so they're like, people got paid more. So people who'd leveraged large amounts of debt did well, and that's what we're not seeing obviously hyperinflation in America, but we're seeing severe amounts of inflation. That person who's doing a medical degree is going to get significant wage rises. So that 360 now is quite high, but in say 10, 20 years time, that will be a significantly lower amount. Whereas so paying off of his Bitcoin is actually, looking at it from an economics viewpoint, is very, very bad.
Yeah. And talking of this as well, I remember when Biden came into office that he was going to get rid of some of the student debt in America. And just a couple of days ago, he cancelled $5.8 billion worth of student debt for, so for over 323 borrowers. But this is if you were able to show that you had some form of disability.
Oh, right. Because I remember him doing that. He had it in his manifesto. But then once he got into office, he went, nah, I'm not cancelling student debt, lol, unlucky. So maybe he's done a little bit there. But it sounds like for 323, it's like 323 people, because that's basically zero.
No, 323,000 borrowers, who have a total and permanent disability.
That's a hell of a lot of disabled people in the US.
So
there's a lot of fat people in the US.
Yeah, and well, if maybe they've all got long COVID, they're counting that as a disability now.
Hey, this is exactly where I was going to go.
A little bit tired. Oh, I've got long COVID. But no, you're a student, mate, and you spoke too much weed. Not long COVID.
It'd be interesting what that disability is.
If I could get away with using my weed addiction as long COVID and get away with 360 grand, I am fucking doing it. So fair play.
And also the beige food addiction.
I feel sorry for this kid, because if in the next 5 years, that 360 grand he had is going to be worth millions and millions. And yeah, his student loan was going to be going up crazy.
But like I said, if you look at it, so if he's working as a doctor in America, he'll be earning a couple $100 grand, won't he? It's all private.
Yeah.
And like I said, you're looking at inflation every year. You're looking at over 10, 15 years, money doubles, and his debt will actually be seen as cheap debt. And that's the way you've got to look at it.
Yeah.
And like I said, economically, it's just not sound at all. And he's being a bit impulsive. Oh, you want to clear my debt, because it's what we get taught as kids.
Yeah.
No debt, keep it clear, and it's a weird mindset. And I was thinking about this when I was making my dinner tonight. It's the same as carbohydrates and fats. I should eat the carbohydrates and protein to keep me healthy. I should not eat fats because it makes me fat. Whereas in fat, you should be eating protein and fat. You should not be eating that much carbohydrate because carbohydrates make you fat. And it's basically getting that twisted mindset. So I'm still struggling with, the debt is actually what makes you rich rather than clearing debt.
We've not mentioned his name just yet, but Robert Kiyosaki is always trying to take on debt. He is trying to take on as much debt as possible because he knows that the money printer going burr is just making him richer and richer.
Well, this is it. If you go to sound money, once again, Bitcoin, it's not making you richer by taking on mass amounts of debt. But the fact is, in this current inflationary environment, it is.
Yeah.
He needs to sponsor the podcast, that guy. Gets a shower every week.
Yeah, he does actually, doesn't he? Needs to pay up.
Right. So what do we want to do as the next topic?
There's two left: FUD of the week and shitcoin corner. So let's do FUD of the week. It's quite heavy. So this is one that came out literally, I think either today or yesterday, and it's
FUD of the week. You mean we just done that, haven't we?
No. FUD of the week. It depends which version you're looking at. Essentially, it's Bitcoin.
You've been messing with the agenda, Dr. Evil, 10% again.
He's probably taking a copy, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the FUD of the week was empty. There was no FUD. It was actually quite a good week where I was actually going to bring it up as a topic that no FUD had happened. And it was really good. And then this economics PhD lady came out with a massive Twitter thread basically saying why Bitcoin's monetary policy does not work. The supply has to expand and contract with the economy. And there's a massive freaking Twitter tweet storm on it.
Yeah.
And fundamentally, it's almost hilarious how wrong she is. I think the more educated you are on the economy and as an economist, I think the more you've been indoctrinated by the fact that money printers go burr is supposed to be a good thing. And you're kind of almost censorship bias on saying that the economy must be good for the fact that the current monetary policy is correct, because you've been trained in that. And it's weird because I've spoken to a number of accountants about Bitcoin, and they have not liked Bitcoin at all. They do not like the fixed supply. They think it needs to expand because they think monetary expansion is good because that's how the current economy
value. I'm sure as well. It has no value as well.
Yeah, because I think because fundamentally, I think they think they understand what money is, but really what they have been taught to understand is fiat. They haven't been taught money. They've been taught fiat money, and it's propaganda by the people that run it, and because they
who base their thinkings on Keynes, and Keynes has been massively disproved numerous times. I've read this thread. I didn't actually realize it's on the agenda by Tasha. Yeah, it's just like she's quite eloquent in the way she says it. She's well researched, well written, but then I've seen some comments which absolutely destroy it and the whole concept she puts down. So yeah, quite a good FUD, but I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, because she tries to use this like weird example of Twinkies, and if there's one Twinkie worth one.
Oh, here we go.
One person.
Let's simplify it so it's easy to say. Say we have the economy of one product, Twinkie, and one currency, dollar. Price of one Twinkie equals $1. Alice, a Twinkie entrepreneur, hires Bob to help make Twinkies. Alice's company makes one Twinkie a year, so the company revenue is $1. Bob's salary is 50 cents, and Alice takes the other 50 cents. What happens when productivity goes up? AKA economy grows. When prices, wages are stable, Alice is always motivated to find better ways to make Twinkies. If the company managed to make 2 Twinkies instead of 1 with the same resources, Alice will make $1.50 instead of 50 cents. But if the price quickly drops as productivity of Twinkie doubles, Twinkie price deflates to 50 cents. Alice will still make 50 cents after going through all the trouble to increase productivity. But I'm like, isn't that just a failing business?
And she completely forgets about supply and demand. You know, like where did the dollar come from that buys the entire market of Twinkies? It's just, her analogy sounds cute, but it just doesn't work. Like she forgets that supply and demand is the real reason why prices go up and down.
But it's also the whole concept. Like, if you have not got a product which people want, they will not buy it. Therefore, you have no right to have an income of people for nothing. You know, it's the basics. So she's got, you know, a couple hundred likes for these, 830 on the first one. First comment at the top, Pult, who I think I've now followed. I see a lot of rich people trying to tear down Bitcoin. Perhaps they would feel differently if they were poor and saw the government inflating away their little monies. You know, and that's 7.7 thousand likes straight away. Bang.
Yes.
Well, they want us to effectively, you know, they were the first people or kind of like group to come up with the phrase "have fun staying poor." In my eyes, you know, we've just adopted it from them.
Yeah, because where she addresses Bitcoin towards the end, and basically goes, she tries to justify why inflation is needed, and then she goes, so if you have a fixed supply, fundamentally, the economy is broken. Even though she tries to do a Twinkie example and it's broken, but then it just fundamentally, she then goes, so what we need, Bitcoin is not the innovation, but programmable money is the innovation. That's what's interesting. And it's just, no, that is not the interesting thing. Like,
No.
the fiat is already programmable. We can add supply, we can do whatever we want, we can make a billion of it. Like, literally, money that is fiat is programmable right now. That is not interesting. The interesting thing about Bitcoin is that you can't fuck with it. It's decentralized. That is what's interesting. And the fixed supply is also just good. It makes it scarce. And
here's another great comment. So her someone said, your goal should be to keep prices of things denominated in your currency stable. That requires money supply growth to keep pace with real GDP. And I'm just like, why would you need the prices of things to be stable? So yeah, it's just like, that's not, like you said, it's not basic supply and demand. So it starts off quite eloquent. She's fought it out, tried to make herself a viral tweet as such, and it has just ended up getting absolutely ripped apart. And her last comment, which I've seen here, is, give me a motherfucking break. Stable prices, not persistent inflation or deflation, is a fundamental feature of any good money. But once again, it's supply and demand.
Yeah.
It's basically stable prices for assets which are in need, and also the understanding what an asset is worth, and also services and thus wages. So therefore you can pay someone a real living wage because they understand what they need to earn to live in the market.
Yeah, the market decide, exactly. Because instead what she wants is one person sat in the bank to go, this is what interest rates are. And whatever they decide, whether it's 1%, 2%, 10%, that now suddenly is what the price of goods are going to go up by this year. That is absolute and utter bollocks. No, the prices of goods should all fluctuate based on supply and demand. And if Twinkies are super rare this year, then the price goes up. If there's a huge supply of them next year, the price goes down. We do not need one person sat in a bank deciding what the price of Twinkies should be.
Yeah.
It's the market decides, and we should let that happen for every single product. And she is arguing that the banks and the government know better, and they set interest rates, and this is what the inflation of the money should be each year. And it's just so factually incorrect. But the problem is, she has a PhD in this topic, so she is so.
She's got a PhD.
She has a PhD in economics. In economics, So she probably has 360 grand worth of debt to the US government on economics. So if she, imagine how hard it's going to be for her to admit that she's wrong and Bitcoin is right, because her entire debt is going to be for
she's too far in that
nothing.
position. Yeah. She's too far in that position to ever turn around and come back out of that hole.
Yeah, she's all in on fiat. And to admit that your bags are wrong is just going to be too hurtful to her. And weirdly, she since has tweeted about NFTs and saying why they're so great. And like, just okay, you've ruined any credibility that you may have had with this slightly
she hasn't got any credibility. She can just do grammar.
Yeah. She can. She can write an essay, which is well done. That's what.
She can write an essay which pleases kings.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I feel sorry for her.
Oh God, that is dumb. Yeah, I'm upset I missed that because I would have enjoyed to read through that whole thread again.
Yeah. Have a look. It's there.
It's still there. Still there. I'm looking now.
Yeah. Just don't comment because you'll block you.
Oh, my life will be over.
You just want to read the thread and then get out. Yeah. But then we've got Shitcoin Corner. So that weirdly, this is like follows on from last week. We had freaking Arsenal having their own coin, which weirdly, once I dug into this a little bit more since last week, every freaking club in the world has its own cryptocurrency, which I didn't really realize.
The thing which I don't get is the Arsenal is just a token. It's got no real monetary value, has it? It's just use of voting rights. It's basically an ID which attaches to Arsenal.
I'm pretty sure it had a price.
Yeah.
I think you can trade it. The Arsenal coin, which is the same as this one. They all
it's Arsenal coin you can get for free at the moment. So that you can say, I'm an Arsenal fan, I've got my phone. I can say who the player of the week is or player of the year. Will probably be no one.
Who's the ball boy in the corner? Because at this moment in time,
who's the person who's actually had no minutes on the pitch but been on the bench? They could be player of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so I read the PSG. I can see there's a value attached to it, and it said Messi's being paid in crypto. I'm guessing that it's on top of his actual wages, so it doesn't count because they're just using him as publicity.
Yeah. Is that 1.2 million in euro as well? Wages a week?
Yeah.
The wages are ridiculous.
Wouldn't surprise me. I think it was $45 million a year. So probably a bit less.
So just less. Just shy of $1 million a week.
But I kind of did raise a question because currently look at the Arsenal and the PSG and they're roughly the same functions. It's literally voting rights, access to merch early, things like that. So he gets paid in PSG tokens as in a weird reality. What's he going to buy a fucking PSG top to wear at home?
Well, weirdly, it's tradable, right? So this coin, it trades. So you can trade this in for dollars or other crypto. So in theory, this is like being paid in the shitcoin. This isn't just voting rights, this one. Because like you said, the price doubled on the news that Messi was joining PSG. So that meant a load of people brought the PSG coin. And it's all weird because like really who is like the PSG coin? Like if you want money in PSG, buy their stock. Like they're probably IPO'd. I don't know if they are or not, but buy stock in the company. Buying their token is nothing.
It limits yourself if you're going to buy their token as opposed to buying into the company.
Yeah, because like PSG could have
that right.
PSG could win the Champions League and win the league, but if Messi decides to dump all his coins that year, then the price probably goes down 90%. So it's not going to be directly correlated to the success of the company anyway, because it's just going to be a couple of whales that control the price. It was just weird. I couldn't believe it when I actually saw that Messi got paid in PSG coin as well as like euros, and
it's just a gimmick.
The world, right? Everything's tokenized.
Yeah, it's just a gimmick. I just kind of think it's a bit fucking pointless.
Yeah, because at least with this type of thing, they didn't claim to be decentralized. They say PSG owns the coin, and so however many they're saying of PSG coin exists, if they decide that they want to double the supply, then they can, and so it's.
But we know that people will buy it. and they will exchange their, and I'll use the term loosely, hard-earned fiat into PSG coin, and it's gone, isn't it?
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe they make some money, and good luck on them, because it's essentially all you're doing is gambling here, right? It's a casino token, and if PSG win the Champions League, then probably the price of the token will go up, and great.
Yeah,
they get knocked out in the first round, it goes down. So
then once Messi leaves in 2 years,
buy on the other side as well, don't you?
Yeah, I think buying PSG coin is like going, I'm going to spend £100. I'm going to bet that they win the Champions League, and I'll probably get like 15 to 1 on that. So if I bet £100, I'll make £1.5 if PSG win the Champions League. Nice little return, but it's a gamble. It's probably the same as buying PSG coin. So if you want to do it, fair enough. But don't think you're buying sound money and all that type of thing.
Yeah, and then it's not going anywhere and it can't change.
It's like going on your Paddy Power app and putting £100 bet on for PSG to win the Champions League. Like, all right, fair enough. You get 15 to 1 or 6 to 1, whatever.
It's a weird almost share, isn't it? It is a really strange concept.
Yeah, but the problem is it's less than the share, right? Because shares at least are regulated and are technically, like, you have rights and there's legal rights to it. With these shit coins, they are literally valued at 0 and they say they are worth 0 when you buy them. They are just tokens. So it's like a share with none of the benefit of being a share. It's so weird.
Yeah. It's like a POG.
Yeah, it's like why ICOs were so funny. It's like trying to invest in the startup without having any rights and just going, I'm going to give you money, hopefully you do it, but if you don't, I have no recourse. If you just steal all this money and run off, like, the good thing is about the football clubs doing it, right, is they're not going to do the ICO version. They're not just going to run off because they're huge football clubs. They're not going to exit scam, but it's still stupid. Like, you just buy shares in the company if you really want to invest in this company. Buying a token is just, but hey, it's a gamble, right? So I would probably actually rather people buy this coin than just gamble and bet on them winning the Champions League or whatever. You're probably going to lose less money. Buy PSG coin, why not? Just don't think you're buying sound money that's going to, you can't hold PSG coin for 20 years. You can hold Bitcoin for 20 years.
It's not really proper crypto as well. I mean, it's worse than things like Dogecoin and all sorts. It's another level down.
It's like a coupon. It's a digital coupon, isn't it? Essentially.
So nothing positive. No one's going to be buying PSG coins here.
No.
I'm
bullish on PSG with Messi being there now. I think they've got a good chance.
Yeah,
it's not just him. They've bought a whole bloody team. Gini Wijnaldum, Messi, Donnarumma. I want to say there's a defender who they brought in, Ramos. They've got a couple of other players as well. They've bought
Mbappe, you forgot there as well.
Yeah, they bought some big players in to supplement, Mbappe and Neymar.
I bet the value of my top's gone up. I bought beforehand as well. Yeah. I've had it about 6 months, if not maybe a bit longer. So I bet the value of that's gone up.
Yeah, especially it's last season.
Yeah, exactly.
Limited edition now.
Yeah.
The pre-Messi version.
Yeah.
Because everyone will have this season's, this will be, any kit that is this season will be worthless in the future because it's like, oh yeah, that's the Messi season. Everyone's got that. It's the year before no one had or whatever. So
no 14-year-olds are going to be supporting Barcelona anymore. They're all going to be supporting PSG.
Yeah, we were saying that just at the top of this show as well.
Yeah, they've all gone to Juventus and PSG now, haven't they? With Ronaldo and Messi moving to there. All right, boys, it's been a long one.
It has.
Yeah,
I think we've covered all bases. Starbucks is out. Mrs. No Show. Dr. Evil 10%. So Never Look. Mr. All In. The World's Most Bullish Podcast. Episode 19. Peace out. Yeah, fellow plebs, if you want to hear us, then tune in.